Hello, beautiful woman of Gaia. Thank you so much for joining me for day 2 of our Drama Detox challenge. Today, we're going to be uncovering the feminine wound and how it plays out in betrayal. This topic is really close to my heart. It's big. I can spend 7 days just unpacking it because it affects all of us as women on every single level. So the best that I can do is in my 20 minutes that I have with you is to share the most pertinent information using the iceberg analogy. So we'll start with the visible bits at the top, and then we will go deeper into the unconscious layers. At the top of this iceberg is the collective feminine wound. And this really speaks into the fact that our grandmothers and our mothers grew up in the patriarchy. This means that we've been raised or impacted by suppressed women. It affects us in some way, shape, or form. And the conditioning and the imprints are buried deep within us because they are shrouded in shame. Right now in our world, we are seeing the dismantling of the toxic patriarchy on every single level. We're seeing it in education, we're seeing it in social structures, we're seeing it in governance, in economics, and we're seeing it in climate change. It is our work to dismantle any remnants of the patriarchal imprint within ourselves. And this journey is an initiation into reclaiming your sovereign power. The next level of the iceberg is experiencing the aftermath of these unconscious imprints which we experience. So let's just talk about betrayal for a moment. It is the perfect storm for drama. So the 4 ways women create drama with one another is the first and the number 1 way women betray one another is to betray somebody else's confidence, not holding somebody else's story sacred. The second way is we gossip. So instead of telling the person directly what you think or what you're upset about, we tell third parties. So instead of braving the hard conversations and doing the self-reflection about our upset, we tell other people. And this totally engages us in the victim, rescuer, persecutor triangle that creates the drama. I also just want to talk about the light side of gossip. On the purest level, we're actually looking for connection. But we don't know how to connect without speaking about other people. And so it's really cultivating this place where we can connect with one another by talking about ourselves and creating a safe environment with one another so we can be vulnerable, so we don't have to connect through gossip, but we can really connect through heart-centered connection. The third way in which women create drama with one another is we lie. We lie to one another through withholding information, either to control or to embellish information to make ourselves seem more successful or more interesting or more extraordinary. We lie also, and this lie also covers up our issues of self-worth. The people pleaser lies specifically to protect other people's feelings. We also lie out of fear of losing somebody else's respect or love, and we also lie when we feel threatened. The fourth way in which women betray one another is we compete. This is huge. It falls under the conditioning is, if you get yours, then there isn't enough for me. And this is the biggest lie that we've bought into. And I'm not talking here about healthy competition which inspires us to express the best parts of ourselves. I'm talking about the toxic kind of competition which is geared to take the competition out. Again, a very strong patriarchal conditioning. The people pleaser archetype also, just to understand that the people pleaser is trying to please herself and also other people. And so in order to please herself, she needs to get rid of the other person. The next layer of the iceberg is about the 4 reasons women betray each other. The reasons why. The first reason is we don't honor ourselves. And if we can't honor ourselves, we can't honor other relationships. The second reason is we seek external validation. So if somebody doesn't see you or acknowledge you in the way that you want, then you punish them, either consciously or subconsciously. The third reason is we just mimic what we've seen. So if we've seen mothers and daughters or mothers and sisters behaving in a very toxic way or competing with one another, we're just going to mimic what we've seen, because that's where we learn about the divine feminine and how to be a woman, is from our primary caregiver, from our own mothers. The fourth reason is we hold unrealistic expectations of one another. So we're projecting our value system onto others, and we're expecting them to behave in the same way. We're expecting them to have the same priorities of their values as what we are, as what we do, as what we hold dear to ourselves. And that's an unrealistic expectation that's going to set you up for drama, and it's going to set you up for disappointment. So the next layer of the iceberg is the collective wound, which is the mother-daughter wound. And this one's huge, and I'm going to hit pause here for a moment, and I'm going to return to it in the second part of our daily session, which will be the courage. We're still in the psychology part. Under the umbrella of the mother-daughter wound, we see the core wounds, which are, the first one is feeling unseen and unheard. If this wound is not resolved within ourselves, what happens is it will play out through unconscious behavior, where we create, enable, or set up drama in a way in which we will be seen and we will be heard. This being unseen wound that's unresolved in us as well can also play out through being extraordinary to be seen. So whether that is in body image, whether that is in accomplishments, or any extreme. The unheard wound, the archetype that usually plays out, definitely not the only one, but one that I see very often, is what we call the patriarchal female. And this is the woman that's very masculine. She's over-identified with masculine qualities, completely represses her femininity, only values logic and reason, has very rigid boundaries, and fights to be right. In Jungian psychology, this is actually called being animus possessed. This archetype also sparks off competition to be acknowledged. The next wound, core wound that we have as women, is the fear of rejection and abandonment. And this plays out through control, projection, perfectionism, and codependent relationships. The next core wound underneath that is shame and guilt. The people pleaser is totally run on shame and guilt. And what also happens and how it plays out in our lives is through banked resentment and blame. And blame is really a discharge of pain and disappointment. The number one most common shame driver for women is body image. And so the thing that we can do to truly just heal that aspect of ourselves is to start making peace with our bodies, to really just be gentle and kind with ourselves. And that in itself is a powerful, beautiful heroine's journey. So now we're going to move into the next part of our session today, and that's the one part courage. So here's our other choice. When you honor your own self-worth, when you decide and know within your bones that you matter, that your presence here matters, that your space is sacred, you will not allow anyone to betray or dishonor or disrespect you or anyone else in your presence. And an example of this is when I have a collection of mutual friends. If I'm with one friend and she asks me, how's the other friend in our circle doing? I usually respond with, when was the last time you spoke to her? Give her a call. And in that way, I'm not telling a story that's not mine to tell. And two, I'm encouraging connection. The connection between us so that we don't speak about anybody else, so we can talk about our own stuff, but also that she connects with our other mutual friend. In our world of kind of technology and social media, it's so easy to disconnect. We think we're connected because we're going through people's pictures and we're seeing what's happening without actually speaking to them. And it's this illusion of connection. But actually, face-to-face or phone call or even through our technology, we can still connect, but a real heart-to-heart basis of connection. The other choice of moving out of competition is collaboration. And here's my catalytic question for you today, which is juxtaposed to envy, because competition, really the root emotion that drives that is envy. Why would we not want to see somebody else succeed? Why would we not want to bless them? And here's the powerful thing about envy. If we really look at, if we're present with our emotions and envy comes up for us, what we can do is we can work with that emotion, because it's bringing to our attention something that is bubbling up to the surface. And the light side of envy is, what it's bringing to your attention is you're seeing an expression in somebody else that is unfulfilled within yourself. You may have a friend that's just published a book and you're so envious of it because, wow, she's getting hers, where's mine? However, if we ask the question, what is it that I'm actually envious of? Is it a book? Do I want to publish a book? No, I don't want to publish a book. But there is something within me that's unexpressed. Maybe it's the courage to put yourself out there. Maybe it's a creation. Maybe it's a painting for you, or a poem, or something else that wants to be brought to light. And so if we can work with envy in that way, it becomes this beautiful point of connection, and it moves us back into the light. The other part of courage is really now getting into the mother-daughter wound. And just as we're moving into it, I think I'm going to need a sip of my green juice for this. So cheers. I hope you have your tea or your water or whatever you're supporting your body with for the next 7 days, to life, to vibrancy and life. So when we talk about the mother-daughter wound, I just want to, for a moment, just talk about her story, our lineage. Stories and cellular memory get passed down in one form or another from generation to generation. We now know this. Science is now actually confirming all of this internal knowing that we've always known. And I want to just go back for a moment to the witch hunts, and I want you to just contemplate this for a moment. During the time of the witch hunts, the persecutors used to come into a village, they'd pull out a woman, and they would say, if you don't give up the name of a witch, you're a witch, and we'll torture and kill you. And think about that impact on women trusting one another, and how that experience has been passed down from generation to generation. Often when I work with women, my first question that I ask them is, what do you believe about women? And I hear things like, and I want you to really ask yourself this question and listen to the honest answers. I hear things like powerful, resilient, determined, heart-centered. I also hear dangerous, untrustworthy, conniving. And we need to look at both these things that we believe, because all of the toxic conditioning and imprints that we have, if that is what we're projecting outwards, that is also how we are projecting it inwards and think about our divine or feminine aspects of. So now let's really dive into the mother-daughter wound. This is not about blaming our mothers. Not at all. This is about healing the lineage imprints that we have. And it's almost been a taboo subject to deal with the mother-daughter wound because we tend to only focus on the daddy issues. Yet the core of our sovereignty is the mother wound. We feel shame and guilt just thinking about unpacking our stuff around our mothers. We feel a sense of betraying her if we become empowered. We feel like we're betraying her when we review our childhood wounding. We feel like we're betraying her if we choose our own path, or if we receive nurturing from another mother figure in our lives. And we feel like we're betraying her if we stop being the good girl, or what is expected of us, or to stop living our shoulds list, how you should behave, how a daughter should be, how a wife should be, how a friend should be, how a sister should be. If you want to dive deeper into this lineage stuff, I have created a very powerful mother lineage clearing meditation, which is available to you for free on Insight Timer. You can just look me up and search for lineage clearing. I worked with a wonderful musician who does healing, sound healing, and she created beautiful music for me for that meditation. So if you wanted to have some support there and clear it on all timelines and all dimensions, ancestors going back and forward, that's a very powerful meditation for you to do. The healthy journey of a mother and a daughter is when a mother comes, the healthy journey of a mother and daughter is when the daughter comes of age and the mother empowers her to step into her independence, to carve out her own path. And she sees her as a woman, and she allows her that space to develop in her own, to come into her own. And this is when the daughter leaves the mother and expresses her own unique version of womanhood. The toxic version of this mother-daughter dynamic is when the mother, knowing that this is coming out of a sense of her own conditioning, of protecting her daughter to survive in a patriarchal world. If that mother doesn't allow her daughter to become empowered because she doesn't want her to leave her, or the mother treats the daughter like a confidant and a surrogate parent if she's a single mom or in childhood, and in that way this young little girl has to become an adult very quickly, or the mother has suppressed her own femininity and over-identifies with the masculine. Our experiences with our mothers lay somewhere in between, right? It's all on a spectrum. So you could have a healthy dynamic with your mother, but there's still a little bit of guilt or shame, embedded in there somewhere. Or it could be the other extreme where there is this toxic version of your mother just not wanting to empower you. And an example of this pattern, which will entangle you in drama and codependency, is when the daughter does everything for her mother, but it's never good enough. And we can stay stuck in that toxic drama triangle of stepping in as the rescuer to help the mother being the victim. Then the mother disapproves of the way that you're doing things or the way in which you're helping. She then becomes the persecutor, because remember the drama triangle, once you're in it, you just circle around. And then you become the victim, so you switch roles, and a sister or another family member will step in to try and rescue the entire situation. So here's the truth, the underlying story of that drama triangle is that the mother cannot empower her daughter because she will leave her. So she continues to disempower her daughter so that the mother will never be abandoned. And that comes down again to that abandonment wound. This is a codependent relationship, yet a very old archetypal mother-daughter dynamic. So here is my catalytic question for you for today, something to contemplate. How am I betraying myself? And where am I hustling for my worthiness? When you can answer these two questions, you can start letting go of all the drama that you may be engaging in, which in a way is betraying yourself, and which is a way in which you're really hustling for your worthiness because you haven't stepped into really owning it. And this brings us to the next part, our one part magic for the day. So before we dive into our meditation for today, or our part of magic today, I want to just also say that this dismantling of the patriarchy that we're experiencing at the moment can feel very overwhelming at times. And what we need to remember is to remember the bigger picture and the bigger perspective of things, and to know that this is what transition looks like. There has to be a breakdown before there is a breakthrough. And we're just seeing it on every scale at the moment. And it is pivotal for us to stay present right now. We're living in amazing times right now. And to also just know that the divine masculine is rising and the divine feminine is rising. And with holding that awareness close to our hearts, I invite you to just close your eyes and just put your hand on your heart, one hand on your heart and one hand on your womb. And we're going to start by just taking a nice, slow, deep breath in, breathing in from the bottom of your belly, filling up your lungs, holding that breath for 2 seconds, and then just exhaling that breath out with a sigh. Just letting go of the day and the week stuff. Another nice, slow, deep breath in. Hold that breath for the count of 2. Exhaling out your mouth. One more nice, slow, deep breath in. Breathing in a relaxation. Breathing out any tension or stress out your mouth. And for a moment, I want you to just become fully present in this beautiful body temple. And just notice and observe the effortless flow of your natural rhythm, of your natural breath. And you're going to, again, just visualize or sense roots, like strong tree roots just growing from the bottom of your feet into the rich, nourishing soil of Mother Earth. And as your roots grow deeper and deeper, you become more present, more still. At the same time, you just envision, call, sense, or feel a stream of divine luminous light that you draw from Source. This beautiful light is just flowing through and around your body. And it brings with it a wave of relaxation as it just flows into every cell, every bone, every muscle, and every space in between. Again, you're just going to take your full awareness to that beautiful sacred sanctuary that you stepped into yesterday. A space of healing and tranquility, peace, divine love, absolute safety. And as you arrive here in that beautiful sacred sanctuary, the part of you that is whole, healed, and complete, your Sophia self, welcomes you in honor and gratitude. And for a moment, you just allow yourself to feel her embrace, to be held by her. And she takes you by the hand and she leads you to a beautiful space that has been prepared for you. And you smell the fragrance of your favorite flower. And you notice that a beautiful chair has been laid out for you. And your Sophia seats you on this chair. And you look down and there's a beautiful bowl with rose petals in it. And your Sophia just washes your feet in a ritual or ceremony of welcoming you home. And you just receive being nourished, being seen, being acknowledged. And she gives you a beautiful amulet, and you just notice the detail on this amulet as she places it around your neck, and you receive it with your whole heart. And you feel celebrated as a woman of peace, a woman of grace, a woman of love, a woman of compassion, a woman that embodies the divine feminine. And you start noticing a circle of women have gathered around you. And you see faces you know, faces you recognize, faces you are yet to meet. And you notice elders, ancestors, grandmothers, healers, medicine women, maidens and aunties. And you feel safe and held and supported and nourished. This is the sacred heart of authentic sisterhood. And you know that in this space, you may be challenged to step outside of your comfort zone for your own highest good, for your growth. You're in the sacred space. You are compassionately guided back onto the path if you get lost. You are talked off the emotional shame spiral ledge in times of struggle. Here, you can be vulnerable and be honored. And here you know that the lineage that stands behind you and stands in front of you are all together rooting for your rise. And again, just slowly start bringing your awareness back to your roots, anchoring you to this moment, this time and this place. You bring back with you that connection to authentic sisterhood. You become aware of your breath, become aware of your heartbeat. You take a slow grounding breath in, becoming fully present in every cell of your body. You rub your hands together slowly place them over your eyes. And when you're ready, you're going to release your hands and gently open your eyes. So today's challenge is for you to journal or identify any feminine wounding that you recognized in our session today. Just write it down, jot it down. This will be the start of layers of healing for you. And then what I would love for you to do in preparation for tomorrow's session is to write down on a loose piece of paper, write down all of your banked resentments, any envy that you feel, any old stories you want to let go of, any gossip you've spread, or any person's confidence that you've betrayed, because we need to forgive ourselves for that. And the poison you tell yourself, any patriarchal imprint or conditioning that you can identify for yourself, write it down on this list. And then also part of your challenge today is to just ask yourself again, what are you willing to do to shift the stuff that keeps you stuck in the drama? Tomorrow, when we gather for day 3 is release. I want you to bring your list ready with a candle. We're going to do a subtle but powerful fire ceremony to let it go. Thank you so much for joining me in day 2 of our Drama Detox Challenge. I wish you a blessed and beautiful day. Please post any questions in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking. Share your insights. And I look forward to seeing you all here again tomorrow.